on Lukaku, I saw a lovely piece by Martin Samuels the other day in the Mail, and he summed it up better than I think anyone's ever summed it up. I won't bore everybody with the whole thing, but if you go online, it'll be on there and read it, and you'll be nodding your head going, oh, God, yeah, that's exactly right. Basically saying what Simon's saying, that it's down to Lukaku to sort this out. Now, last night, Capello was very interesting on Sky Italia. He says some very salient points. He thinks Lukaku was bullying the Italian defenders last year under Inter Milan. He had Conte as his manager, who he's got a very good relationship with. And basically, Inter played on the break. Lukaku was ready for the break, and they were playing it, feeding it through for him, and he was just whacking goals in for fun. And Capello said last night, the Premier League is a 10 times harder league than Serie A, and the defenders are 10 times more physical. He said Lukaku cannot swat them away like flies like he did in Italy. He said, and also, I agree here, that Chelsea's style of play is totally unsuited to Lukaku. Yeah. It's a terrible buy by Chelsea, and I think it was more of a panic buy, because I think they was after Haaland, and when you get into all of it, and I have done, Dortmund would say, yeah, you want Haaland, yeah? We're going to bend you over. And they were asking like 150 million, 120 million euros, and then Haaland's team were asking Chelsea to pay like 500 million. Right, 500,000 a week.
Vernon, you're passionate. You're passionate, Chelsea. Do you want to see him back playing?
No, I think the best thing all round would just be to let him go, try and get as much of our money back as we can, and move along. And I think that playing Lukaku in the like tantamount to having 10.5 men.
All right, Vernon, we'll move along. But thanks as always for the call, George. Big Chelsea fan. What's your take on it? Good morning.
Morning, guys. Great show as always. Like that man just said, I echo that. It was a total panic buy by Chelsea to get Romelu Lukaku. They always say that saying, you never go back with an ex, and he went back there. He makes Chelsea look, he's lethargic, he's slow, he makes Chelsea like very slow in our play. You look at Kai Havertz last night, he's something out of a Jane Austen novel, isn't he? The way he glides around the pitch. He's unbelievable, that boy. Lukaku he's just not performing. I know you say about the interview, but he still did the interview.
Yes.
You don't say that. You do not say that if they're paying you so many £100,000 a week. You don't say that. If I was to say that, I'd be out the door. At the end of the day, he ain't performing. He shouldn't be playing this Sunday. I would drop him. That is the only way that he's going to start to learn. But at the end of the day, it's a fantasy as well. Chelsea are stuck with him now. Who's going to pay him? How are we going to get our money back for him? We're not. Who's going to pay it? No one. The idea of him going back to Inter Milan, that's his own fantasy. That ain't going to happen. They sold him because they needed the money. The only people that could probably come and get him is Newcastle. Are they going to go and get him?
Wow, George, you've got us thinking. Ollie, take us to the break. Ollie, big Chelsea fan. What's your take in this? I mean, Vernon and then George simply aren't having him. Are you? Is Ollie with us?
Yeah. Hi there. Great show. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Ollie.
From the beginning of the season, I've been very supportive of Lukaku, even with the interview and everything come out, saying the amount of times you see him frustrated. We don't get the ball forward quick enough to him. We don't get it into his feet. And I was sitting there. I've been to about 10 games this season, and I'm sitting there going, we're not playing. Why spend nearly £100 million and not play to his strength? When we was at the Chesterfield game after the interview and he scored, a couple of us looked at each other and said, should we sing his name? And we did. We're backing him, and we want him to succeed. However, the last few weeks, he just looks like he really doesn't care. He stops working, he's sort of stropping around, he's throwing his arms up in the air. And I actually think we look a better team with Havertz. He's never going to score you 20, 25 goals, but what he does do is he brings the other players in around him. Ziyech looks better playing off of Havertz. Pulisic looks better playing off of Havertz. And I actually think, as a team, we look better with Havertz there than we do with an out-and-out striker like Lukaku.
Yeah, thanks very much. I mean, my goodness, Trevor, Simon, they're not having him back.
No, I mean, listen, and Ollie just said that. He tried to support him and be singing his name. I was at the Liverpool game early in the season, and he made some really good movements in behind Lukaku. And I thought, once the midfield and the players around him get used to his movement and start, because obviously Liverpool had a high line, start playing them balls over the top, he's going to be a real threat. He's going to be a real threat and a success for Chelsea. That's not how it's played out. And you look at him now, and listen, you talk about fits for players and teams. Chelsea are a possession-based team.
Yeah.
You need players that are good at the link-up, good reverse movement, coming to feet, bringing other players into play.
I'm sort of lost in which sort of Jane Austen novel he's part of. Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility. The last caller was talking about he's like something out of a Jane Austen novel. I'm just trying to work out which novel Romelu Lukaku would have featured in.
Isn't it bizarre though, Simon, that Abramovich agrees 98 million, he's coming, and now virtually as soon as he's there, he's going to be off again.
But that falls out.
Might seem,
but that falls out of Abramovich's pockets on the way to the game. It's about Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel wanted the player. So the problem is, if it's a panic buy, why is Thomas Tuchel panicking? They've just won the Champions League. Why is the narrative it's a panic buy? Romelu Lukaku scored a lot of goals in Italy, and they wanted a goal scorer.
Yeah.
You couldn't get Erling Haaland because you have to deal with what's his face and all that nonsense that goes with that. So they got the next best thing, which people would argue may well be Romelu Lukaku. I don't see it as a panic buy. And they've worked out as they've gone along, like you do a lot of these big signings, that maybe it isn't what we thought. Now, if you want to get him out, if you sign him on a 3-year contract, do you know what he's worth to Chelsea now? 60 million quid. You reckon you can sell Romelu Lukaku for 60 million quid?
100%.
There you go then. So Chelsea will get their money back because if he's got a 3-year contract with Chelsea and signed bought for 90 million quid, he's now worth 60 million quid on their books. So they'll get their money back from a profit and loss point of view.
Simon, I'm glad you mentioned Erling Haaland in the passing there. Just hearing that Haaland, and how good is this news for Rangers fans? Haaland's ruled out of Borussia Dortmund's return leg at Ibrox. Rangers 4-2 up from that first leg, of course. He's got an injury, an abductor injury. So no Haaland in the first leg, no Haaland in the second leg. Good news for Rangers.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.